Good morning again, you fine young, wonderful young adults. Um, the topic I've chose this morning for us to talk about is another name. We talked about names last week, if you recall. We're going to talk about another name, and that's one we left out last week because of time. But it's the name of Satan, the name of the devil. And I want to bring this to your attention for several reasons. But when we get to the end of it, it'll be plain why I've done it. If you need to doze off and nap a little bit or tap on the table, whatever you need to do, go ahead and do that now, and I'll wake you up at the end of it so you can get the conclusion of it, so we can have something to draw off of this study. I'd ask a question I could ask you. I'd say, well, what's the first time the devil or Satan was used in the Bible, the name devil or Satan? When was the first time it was used in Scripture? And most of you might say, well, in the Garden of Eden, when the devil came. And well, if you read that account there in Scripture, it doesn't say the devil did this or Satan did that. It's called the serpent, and there's several reasons for that we can talk about later. But anyway, it just says the serpent. It doesn't say the devil or Satan or whatever. It says the serpent. Now, when the first time it's used, the word Satan is used, is in Job, which is believed to be one of the oldest writings of the Bible, even just after Genesis. It's supposed to be written way back. No one knows when, but it's one of the oldest writings we have. But in that writing, from that very start in Job, we hear that Satan was walking around in heaven, and Satan said this, and God said to Satan this, and one thing and another. The real word there, as we translate it, means the accuser. The accuser. So if you look at Job and what this guy was doing as he was walking around, he was doing just that. He was accusing. He was accusing Job of being faithful just because God was taking care of him. And he was accusing God of taking care of Job so he wouldn't, denounce him and turn away from him. So that's what his job was. That's what he did, was the accuser. And that's how it's read in the old original versions. If you read it, you don't read that Satan was doing around this. It says the accuser. Now, if we had translated that through time to say what it meant there in the Scripture, that's what we'd be reading today. The accuser did this. The adversary did that. So the word Satan was used in the Aramaic form also, but in Hebrew, and it meant the accuser, the adversary, the one who opposes. So when we know what people who opposes, we know what they're like and who they are, but that's what the word Satan means, is the opposer, the adversary. Now, when it was translated to Greek, they used the word diablos, which is what we get in English is the devil. But diablos didn't mean the accuser, it just meant accuser or adversary. So they added the word the, because the devil would be the same thing as Satan, which was the accuser. Now, we see that in different translations today. If I'm speaking Spanish to you now, I want to know if you want something to eat. I would say, ¿Quiere usted comer? Comer means to eat. I don't say, do you want something to eat? I say, because comer is to eat. Beber is to drink. Quiere algo beber? That means, do you want something to drink? The word means to drink or to eat. In Hebrew, the word Satan means the accuser, the adversary, the one who opposes. We get down to Greek through the translation diablos. In English called the devil, we have to add the because it was the. Now, an interesting thing about this is nowhere in the New Testament do you find the word devil. Oh, wait a minute. I can think of a whole lot of them. Not devil by itself. We don't read about the devil by itself. It's always the devil. The devil did this. The devil did that. Now, you'll find places where people were sacrificing their kids to devils. It doesn't say the devil, it just says devils, demons in some places. but the devil is the only way it's found in the New Testament. So the devil is the accuser, the adversary, or Satan. It's all the same word, all the same meaning. So that's not really a name for him. That's not his name. Okay, so that's more or less his what he does. Okay, now when we read the New Testament and we go to the parable about the sowing of the seed, and it says the sower threw some of the seed down, and somebody came and picked up part of it. And in Matthew it says the evil one came and picked up the seed. In Mark it says Satan came and picked up the seed. In Luke he says the devil came and picked up the seed. All these cases are not his name. Even the word Satan means the accuser, the opposer, the adversary. So that's not a name. That's more of his characteristic, what he does. And there's a bunch of other things that he's accused of doing, and truthfully, he's a liar. From the very beginning, he opposes the good. Now, there are several places where the name of the devil or Satan is tried to be passed off on, and one of them is Beelzebub. And Christ used this as when he said, "You're casting out devils in the name of Beelzebub." Well, when you study that, that's kind of a play on words, because Beelzebub means the prince of flies. And back then, they used the term flies in a kind of a strange way about the thoughts that would come flying in your mind and flying out of your mind. Flies, the prince of flies, is what was referred to. Now, we don't get that in English. All we do is get Beelzebub, but that's not his name. And then as we read on, lots of people think Lucifer is the name. And I've even told you guys that before, that I thought Lucifer was the name of the accuser, this adversary. Well, that's not true. Lucifer just meant a light bearer, a bearer of light. In fact, back the Greeks, they named Venus Lucifer. They referred to that planet because it was a morning star. It was the first light to hit, and it was the last light to go out. So it was called the light bearer. Now, if we want to assign names to the light bearer, Christ is called the morning star. Well, I don't want to get in that comparison there, but Lucifer was a term used to the Babylonian king at that time to describe what he was going to go through and how he was going to fall. And him falling from heaven, in those days, falling from heaven and the stars falling from heaven and their stars falling from heaven is a way that they described the judgment of God and how their nation was going to fall. And so they were contrasting what this king was going to fall and using terminology just like God, just like when Satan fell from heaven. Now, Christ tells us that. He says, I watched Satan falling from heaven, not in a big blast of light, but as the lightning. I don't know about as the lightning strikes or as the lightning comes from the top to the bottom, but we know it goes to the bottom to the top. So I don't know what he means, but it was a description of that, and it wasn't like his name. Now, if we want to stretch the point just a little bit, and Peter was talking to Christ, and Christ says, okay, I'm going to go and run on into Jerusalem here, and I got to be killed now, and it's time's come. And remember what Peter said? He said, oh, no, you're not. No. And that's not happening. And so what Christ tells him, says, get behind me, Satan. Well, we don't say that Peter is another name for Satan. We don't say that. And we don't even say that Peter was taken by Satan, possessed by Satan or anything else. It's just that Peter was acting as an adversary. He was acting as an opponent of what Christ was trying to do. And he wasn't by any means calling him that person in particular. Now, all that's kind of cool, and it works down real good for us. You know, when we start translating the scriptures, or we translate from one thing to another, we translate things and says, well, diabolos meant devil, or not. It meant diabolos meant slanderer. That's what it meant. And so if we're going to write down things and we want to translate, we would put down the slanderer or the accuser or something like that. But sometimes in Scripture, they don't translate. They do a thing called transliterate. That's a weird word. But anyway, transliterate things. Here's a good example. Baptize, baptizo in the Old Testament or in the Bible. Baptizo meant immersion. If I wanted my shirt to be turned from from white to red, I would go to the guy and I would say, I want my shirt baptized in red dye, and they would baptize. They would immerse that shirt. And I don't want it partially. I want it immersed because I want the whole thing to be red. And that's what baptizo means. Now, when they translated it into the scripture, they didn't translate baptizo into immersion or immersing. They transliterated it, which means they use the same word. They just spell it different because of the culture or the language that they were going to. And we read the word baptize. So now when we start reading the scripture, we go, okay, everybody's got to be baptized. Well, okay, that's correct. But what we lose is the meaning of that. Everybody has got to be immersed. That's what it means. That's the translation of it. And so when we go through the Satan and the devil and the whole shooting match, a lot of times it's transliterated and it's not translated of what it meant. So the bottom line is, what was the devil's name? I don't know. And if you think you know, we can argue about it. We won't argue about it, but maybe we can learn something from each other. And so I don't know what his name was, but I think the very important thing is that we don't want to assign a name for him. Like when I was young, there was a cartoon I liked to watch, except I didn't like the cartoon because there was about a little blonde-headed kid that lived next door. And I was a little blonde-headed kid that lived next door. But this kid's name was Dennis. Dennis the Menace. And he was always getting in trouble. He'd go to somebody's garage and start playing with the paint and spill it all over the floor and try to clean it up with a vacuum cleaner. And, he just did all kinds of... But anyway, his characteristic went along with his name, Dennis the Menace. Now, if we just had a name for somebody, old Paul came over and did this, that, so whatever, then we know who we're talking about. But sometimes we lose the characteristics of him. And I think that's what God wanted us to do, is not lose the characteristics of this opposer, this adversary, this evil one that is always bombarding us with negative things. So I want you guys to know that in the scripture, this evil guy is described to those people as someone that's going around like a roaring lion trying to devour them. Now, that doesn't mean a lot to me because I've seen pictures of devouring lions. It doesn't mean a whole lot to me, and probably for you too. And it's used 4 other times in the Old Testament to describe a situation where it was bad. People were tearing people apart and destroying people. And they say they were ripping them and they were gnawing them like a roaring lion. And the scripture's not trying to say that this devil person, this accuser, this adversary, is a lion that's going around. Look, it's like a lion. Now, in our culture today, we wouldn't say a roaring lion because it doesn't mean that much to us. But what we might say is the devil is a cancer that's looking to take your life, or the devil is a speeding car going down the line. Because see, those are the things that we lose our lives to: cancers and car wrecks and things like that, shootings, things like that. So we would in our culture would want to kind of relate that to those kinds of things and saying the devil is like a suicide bomber, just looking for you to take you out. Now that means something to us, doesn't it? So here's the whole takeaway. So if you've been asleep, wake up, because this is the end of it, and this is what I want you to remember from all this stuff. It's not important, and we can't decide what the name of this character is. We do know he's real, and we do know his characteristics, and that he's looking for you to destroy you and to take you out, because he is the adversary. He is the one that opposes. He's the one who accuses. Now, in our time today, we hear about all this mess in the nation we've got, and we hear people accusing people. Well, you're a hater. You hate me because you say that I'm a sinner. You hate me, and you hate this, and you're just a bigot, and you're just and all these accusations come. You know who the accuser is? You know who the accuser is? I just told you, right? It's this the devil. It's Satan. It's that character that we've come to know as this accuser, this one that's looking for us, wanting to devour us. So I want you guys to be aware, not so much of the name, because I don't know, and I doubt you do, but of his characteristics and his purpose. He's here to destroy you. He's here to keep you away from God and the promises that God offers in his word. So I want you to remember that, and I want you to be on the lookout for this character, not so much for the name, but for what he's doing and how he acts in the things he does in his life and how it affects what we do. So there you have it, and hope you're more enlightened by what to look for and what to do when you run across him. You gotta go to prayer and get away from him. He's looking to devour you. Well, take care of yourselves, you guys, and hope you have a great holiday weekend this weekend. And take care of yourselves. Be safe, by all means, be safe. And you know what the rest of it is. Let's all say it together. Behave yourselves and quit being a pain in the neck. I don't think you're really a pain in the neck. But anyway, take care of yourselves. Help your parents out all you can. And be respectful of those around you and take care of yourself through all this stuff. And I'll talk to you later. See you later. Bye-bye.